I decided to film my podcast outside in nature because why not? I mean, look at this. For those of you with the video podcast or on Spotify, check it out. I kind of felt inspired to do my podcast and to really minimize the amount of technology I use, the editing process, just to optimize the process and kind of make things more real and raw and deliver whatever message I have to deliver in a very easy, functional way. Today I want to talk about basically surrendering your will to the universe and trusting a greater plan. It's easy to say the word surrender. It's easy to say, oh, just let go and breathe. But it's actually, there's a lot of mental strategy that goes behind surrendering your will. And I want to address some things that your mind will tell you when you begin to release control and let go of certain narratives. The first thing that you will notice when you start to surrender your control to the universe and tap into universal forces and to really begin to breathe as a fully alive human being, you're going to think, I'm a failure. And in our society, I live in the most matrix place possible, Manhattan, New York City. I don't live in Manhattan, but I live in New York, and I'm like in that energy a lot. So I've actually faced that energy head on my healing journey because I was in it. And people ask me, why are you so calm living in New York City? Because I was specifically placed here as a soul to learn how to do that and to teach other people how to do that. Because without that shift, the whole world is going to stay behind. So New York City is shifting upwards. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of hesitation because people feel like they're a failure when they release control. And feeling like a failure does not mean you are a failure. This is the reasoning that I follow. I know that to external watchers or onlookers of my life, it seems like I'm a failure, especially with my intelligence or certain other aspects that people may notice about me. I'm not a failure to myself ever. If I'm following my will and my truth and my intuition, that's the highest level of success an individual can find on planet Earth. And a lot of people, unfortunately, surrendered their will to other people's will to succeed. And that is kind of our metric of success in 2024. And unfortunately, you do not need to be surrendering who you are and your will to somebody else to be successful. In fact, most successful entrepreneurs stayed in their willpower and use their willpower to work for them and to maneuver the material world using their willpower. So when you're gonna begin to surrender to all of this, this is literally amazing. Look at this. When you surrender to all of this, like the plants and the nature and just kind of having an F it attitude. Like I really truly do embody the F it attitude because I realize that caring way too much is actually holds most people back. So the first thing that I discussed, release that idea that you're a failure because you're moving on your own journey, on your own path. And also release this idea that I just lost my train of thought, but it's fine. Cause I'm so relaxed. I'm so happy. I just totally lost my train of thought. It's cool though. Basically, that's what I was gonna say. Successful people keep their willpower. They stay on top of their willpower. They don't sacrifice themselves and they don't sacrifice their values. So if you're in a phase in your life where you feel like the universe is not giving you anything, you're living in the wrong universe. There are two universes. There is a material universe and then there's the spiritual universe. The spiritual universe is basically programmed around surrender, which is why I'm bringing this point up right now. The spiritual universe rewards sacrifice and surrender. So me, for example, right now, I'm unemployed. I just lost my job. I wasn't compensated for my last week there. And I kind of am low on funds, right? So I went to the bank yesterday and I tried to kind of take out some money. And luckily, thanks to the universe, I have my credit limit is higher than I thought. Okay, my bills will be paid, at least until I find a job. That's a form of sacrifice and surrender as well, when you're like, okay, I need to think alternatively and I need to find a plan. Basically, in business and in the material world, everything is a plan and an action, a consequence, an analysis, another plan, another action. The spiritual universe is the same. However, you rely less on your logic and more on your intuition in the spiritual universe. So I honestly have no regrets in life at all, even though some people are like, oh, you could be doing what, you can be in Bali, you can be doing this and that. And it's like, I'm walking in the park right now and everybody is just as lost as I am. The mothers, the older people, the people running, everybody's lost. So why does it matter what material identity of lost I am? Like, to be quite honest, having more material items and having more numbers to deal with every day, it actually makes you more lost. You think that one day you'll get a certain number value or a certain position and you'll be less lost. That's the biggest matrix trap there is. Everything that is accumulated is a loss in the spiritual. I don't recommend fully going into the spiritual universe and going to a monastery and just meditating every day and eating fruits and whatever. I'm saying balance. You don't want too much material and you don't want too much spiritual. It's a dance between the material and the spiritual universes. And that's kind of how I've made sense of surrender. Like right now I'm surrendering a lot in the material, but what I've received in spiritual abundance, like look, my skin is glowing. I'm very, very, very peaceful. I've never felt this level of peace in my life. And I know that the universe is gonna give me a plan that I will act on, that will lead to a result, that I will then analyze, then I will create another plan. And it's that same kind of like, you would probably learn this in like basic marketing 101, how planning a strategy works. The universe just gives you a lot more help when you lean on it and when you rely on it and you use your intuition rather than your logic to craft your plans. The brand that I'm building, I know it's not going to be another 10-15 years before like it's something that like people are raving about, or if it ever becomes anything like that, like I did the wrong thing, because that is not my plan with anything that I do. My plan is to stay as real as possible, and that's it, and to share what flows through me and what helps me in my life. And I think I've really stayed on that path, even though it's easy to be like, oh, I could easily be an influencer and be, showing bags and showing this, and that's not what this is. This is my brand sucks you out of all of that and places you in the spiritual universe immediately. And I knew that the spiritual universe was telling me to do that and to just kind of say F it to the material universe for a little bit. And I did. And my art has dramatically become better. My design skills have dramatically become better. My communication skills have become better. And guess what? These things that are the results of the spiritual universe's plan are extremely useful in the material universe's plan as well. So sometimes you may not see certain things unfolding, but you have to trust your intuition and know that eventually there will come a point where the spiritual overlaps with the material universe, and you have something tangible. You have a business, you have a brand, you have a philosophy, you have a piece of art, you have a job. So understanding the overlap of the material and the spiritual, it's the infinity symbol, by the way, will bring you to a place of complete presence and self-realization. And this is something that I've always felt in my heart, that I've literally never missed an opportunity to get a job in the city, even though like I don't have as much experience as certain people. Like I've worked for like some pretty nice brands, and when I first went into fashion school, it was an F it type of thing. I was just like, F it, I didn't do well in the major that I chose, I'm gonna go do this. So I did that. I felt an immense feeling of peace and a knowing that I was gonna succeed when I walked out of that school's doors. and I continued with my education. I graduated. The career that I want, I know I'm on the right path. And a lot of people might be feeling that right now. It's definitely economically and like in the job market, it's a very tough time. But I want to urge you that there is to the spiritual universe, the spiritual path, because there is so much energy there. There's so much wisdom there. There's so much healing there, connections. The amount of friends that I've made through just starting this brand is ridiculous. I have people reaching out to go on runs. I have people reaching out to go to art galleries. I have people reaching out to collaborate. All my friends, I connected to them through my passions, through yoga, through my content, and through really sticking to that idea of being as real as possible. Like, okay, I know people are gonna judge me, I know people are gonna say this, people are gonna say that, but guess what? It's a free platform, freedom of speech. Like, I think everybody needs to kind of break free from that material universe just a little bit, because it really does cloud your vision and create a lot of scarcity and fear that is not necessary. Like, okay, you're gonna cling onto an opportunity that is destroying your health, that is destroying your mind. Do you think you're gonna benefit from that? Do you think your health is gonna benefit from that? Your relationships are gonna benefit from that? The only thing that is benefiting from that is your bank account. And I understand that money is essential to live in this and that, but I think the universe, the spiritual universe, wants us to know that there's always a balance to be reached. And even if you're unhappy at your job, okay, that's not a big deal. There's a whole life outside of that job. There's a whole lifestyle that you could be living, that you could be activating certain talents, certain communities you can be connecting with. So I think when you are at your lowest bottom, you're right around the corner from your highest top. And that's something that I kind of hacked as an emotional healer, because I will really push myself to that darkest, deepest place, and I will sit there in it. I will feel all of that death, all of those emotions, and I know that in 2 minutes everything will turn gold, because we have that power as healers and as humans to really confront that dark, heavy energy and to sit with it, and to also overcome it, transcend it, have power over it, and make it opportunity. So turning your negative emotions into positive emotions to create opportunities in your life is so rewarding and so fulfilling. To know that, a lot of people live in fear that, oh, in 1 week I might be depressed. I might be like so depressed I can't do anything, or in 1 week I might lose my job. And it's like, how about this? How about the freedom that you will experience when you get to that place and oh, I can feel this, I can heal myself. In 1 week, I'll have a new opportunity. I'll have a new outlook. That is what it means to be positive, to have a positive mindset, and to know that you can truly overcome anything that kind of feels like it's lethal, like it's the end of the world, like you're dying, you're on your deathbed. Nothing is your deathbed. You die once in this lifetime. But the drama in our minds, we feel like we're dying every week, this situation, I'm so embarrassed to death, this and that. You're not gonna die. Like, you only die once. So living in touch with the spiritual universe, it gives you that understanding that you truly only die once. Everything else might feel like that. It might feel like the end of something when your identities are shifting, when your timelines are shifting, when you lose opportunities, when people use their free will in a bad way against you. These things feel like a death, but they're never a death. Like, we truly are alive for a long time on this planet. Like, people say like 100 years is not a long time. I'm like, for me, 100 years feels like a very, very, very long time, because I'm very present. Like, I truly experience every single day. So it feels like I truly have so much time to live. And what society has done is it's given you this timeline that does not make sense at all, because we're all unique individuals and we have our breakdowns and our healing process at different phases, stages, and ages of life. There's no clear-cut path, and I know that we do need the structure, we do need the education, and we do need the societal framework. However, you don't need to listen to it. It's just a framework that you can return back to when you're uncertain and you feel lost. The point here is to continue exploring and to continue being curious And whether you have a 9-to-5 job or you're more of a passion person, the idea here is the same, that like you really can craft the ideal reality by dancing between the material universe and the spiritual universe. And in my head, like what I'm working through is like, oh, you know, certain things that I've done in the past, I will never break free from that, and I'll never get a job, and I'll never get this opportunity. But the truth of the matter is, that is you telling yourself that. It's a story that you're telling yourself. It's mistakes that you have still yet to forgive yourself for. And that shame and guilt, it subsides through positive action and through re-experiencing similar situations and having a different outcome. So I'm going to explain that in a different way again, because sometimes I speak and I'm like, I don't even know what I just said. Basically, when you experience something that leads to shame and guilt, right? That experience in your mind is now associated with shame and guilt. But if you go back and have a similar experience and then you experience joy, empowerment, and peace, this experience is now associated with joy, empowerment, and peace. That is how I healed any like issues I had in my career. I went back, I re-experienced it, I shifted up, I created a different experience. And that's how you build confidence. And even in relationships, like, oh, I'm never gonna date again, like this and that, like I'm heartbroken. Okay, so in your head, relationships are now associated with heartbreak and pain. You need to go back and experience a relationship that leads to love, peace, and support. And I truly believe that the answer is to go back into our experiences, and our pain does hold the power and it holds the plan. So that thing that you fear so much, like people fear bankruptcy and people fear losing their jobs, but I've lost so many jobs that like for me it's like that's a fear that I've already confronted. I know there will be another job, you know. It's something that I've aligned myself to always have even at the lowest level. I will always have a job. And I set myself up to be like that. And I think whatever that fear, that pain is in your life, or like even if it's death, like people are actually dying right now. Like we forget that people are in hospitals dying right now, and we're worried about the job that we lost, or we're worried about, you know, like our hair, like I have like pimples or whatever. Like it's like, I'm not minimizing your painful experiences or your suffering in life, but really tapping into the bigger picture. And like, this is what really advanced meditators do. They'll see everything from out here. Like I used to do this meditation where I would imagine that I was 100 feet from the earth, and I would see myself from there. So like right now, if I did that, I'm sitting under a tree talking to my phone, hopefully gonna reach some audience here about healing and wellness, and also a girl looking for a job. And it's like, okay, from the outside, I'm like, I actually look pretty good. Like I look constructive. Like I have my shit together in a lot of ways, you know. But from my experience and from that like negative ego perspective, I'll be like, oh, everything's down in the dumps. I don't have anything. My clothes is on my bed. I have to go fold it. But it's like, okay, look at yourself from 100 feet. Like you're actually chilling if you really think about it. You're not in the worst shape. If you have your health and you have some type of action plan and you're being very productive and positive in your mindset, you will get that opportunity. And it's happened to me millions of times, and it's like Liz, you're throwing in the towel, like you don't care about your career. Guess what? That's how people make powerful moves in reality. They surrender, they stay positive, they stay searching, something comes around. It might be a person, it might be a job, it might be this, it might be that, but keep moving and stay positive. These are 2 tips that I use in almost anything that I do. And honestly, I have to say, like, I'm pretty happy. Like I've always been very positive, but I think now in life, I'm truly happy. And I think it's because I really, really put an effort and I work very, very hard to be happy. Like it takes an effort to be happy. You're not going to be happy naturally because your mind is 70%. Actually, I think it's even more than that, negative thoughts. Can't listen to your mind. And something I learned in my life coaching program recently was that there are 2 of us. There is the thinking self and the observing self. If you listen too much to the thinking self, you're going to be like chronically depressed. But if you listen to the observing self, you're always going to be chilling. You're always going to be peaceful. You're always going to be joyous. and you'll always have a solution. The mind almost, what is it? It's saying negative thoughts about yourself all day long. Like, where are the solutions? You truly need to tap into the spiritual universe and your intuition to find your action plan moving forward. And I think that is kind of what I'm feeling. That's what's kind of coming up for me. And thank you for tuning into my podcast, and come listen to the next one.